Imagine a world where school is entirely digital. Sounds fun, right? Welcome to our exclusive tutorial on Isaac Asimov's The Fun They Had. Get ready to dive deep into this futuristic story as we uncover hidden gems, explore thought-provoking themes, and break down the characters that make this tale a must-read. We'll also show you how this chapter can enhance your English-speaking skills and provide key insights to ace your exams. Stick around for expert analysis and practical tips that will keep you hooked from start to finish.
Margie even wrote about it that night in her diary on the page headed 17 May 2157. So this is where also you find out why a diary is so important. Not only does it make for riveting storytelling, but at the same time, it gives you dates. That is hard proof of historical fact. So 17th May 2157, that's about how many years from today? This is 2024, about 123 years from today. That's when this particular story is placed. Today, Tommy found a real book. The moment you read this particular sentence, you understand that this is a generation that does not know what books are. They have moved on from books. It was a very old book. Margie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather told him there was a time when all stories were printed on paper. So Margie's grandfather, that's two generations. His grandfather told him two generations. And that also, this grandfather never saw books himself. He had heard that there was a time when all stories were printed. So they had left books behind long ago. They turned the pages which were yellow and crinkly. If you ever turn the pages of an old book, like 50, 60 years old, and you'll find that the pages have all turned yellow, all pages turned yellow. They start off being very white and nice, but they turn yellow, and they also become crinkly, which means that there are creases in the pages. And it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way they were supposed to on a screen. Now here, does funny means haha funny or hee hee funny? No, here funny means it's strange. Strange because they were not used to it. And then when they turned back to the page before, it had the same words on it that it had when they read it the first time. Obviously, the stuff that they use, there is no turning back a page. It's the same screen. And the words keep moving about on the screen. They feel that, okay, I go back to the other page and it's got the same stuff. How so? Then what is the use of that? Once I have read it, then it's gone. I mean, it's useless. No use for it anymore. It had the same words on it that it had. This is a particular grammatical construct. Okay. Some of you may be familiar with it. Some of you may not be familiar with it. I think we had something like this, an example of this when we were practicing narration. Then it had when they read it for the first time. Gee, said Tommy, what a waste. When you're through with the book, you just throw it away. I guess. Now, do we do that? We go through a book and do we throw the book away? Not really. Okay? Because sometimes we want to go back to that book again and reread what we have already read and liked. I guess our television screen must have had a million books on it and it's good for plenty more. I wouldn't throw it away. So here you will find a weird juxtaposition. On the one hand, the author is bang on with his futuristic predictions. Books are obsolete, screens have come, and in one particular device, you can store millions of books. That has already happened. And this is just 2024. But on the other hand, in 2157, the author still talks of a television screen, which obviously is like this big thing looking like a computer monitor. But we can do this stuff on a device that we hold on our palms. We've got our mobile phones, we've got our Kindle. So actually, we have progress at a faster pace than the author had envisioned, which says a lot about our progress. Same with mine, said Margie. She was 11 and hadn't seen as many telebooks. So what are they calling these television screens that act like books? They're calling them telebooks. Now, do telebooks really exist? As in, was that a real name? No. I'm sure the author put television, tele from television and books together and coined this new name. He was 13, Tommy was 13, and Margie was 11. She said, "Where did you find it?" "In my house," he pointed without looking because he was busy reading. "In the attic." "What's an attic?" "An attic is a room at the top of the house. You know where the rooms meet the terrace? There you have an extra room and you call that an attic. Normally nobody stays there except in very poor places. They rent those places out to other people who cannot afford proper rooms and stuff because they are very, very uncomfortable. If you live in a cold place, they'll be colder than the refrigerator. If you live in a warm place, they will be hotter than the oven. So it is extremely uncomfortable to live in, but a wonderful place where you want to store all the items that you cannot have lying about in the rooms. So it's a good place to store old furniture. It's a good place to store your mementos. It's a good place to store anything that you do not really need right now. What's it about? The answer comes: school. Gives one the feeling that Margie really doesn't like school, which is not the case with you people. You people normally do like school. School is fun. School is fun because there you get to meet your friends. You have the opportunity to have fun conversations, play games, and also study. And Margie's time, we see somehow she is not happy about school. She doesn't look forward to going to school. And I can tell you for a fact that a long time back during my grandfather's time or even my father's time, school was not something that people really liked because school was monotonous. School was about rote learning. School was about getting punished, being caned if you didn't know the answers. And school was about the teacher telling you what to do and going out of the classroom for a chat. So obviously, people don't like that. Is not a very engaging school, and your interest flags. You're not inspired enough to study. Margie probably, I'm sure she is not getting scolded in school, but definitely she's not getting inspired. Now let's see what is the matter. Margie was scornful. She did not like the idea of school. School? What's there to write about school? I hate school. See how strong her feelings are? Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. So you might think that it was probably because of the geography exams that Margie was having trouble with school and all. But the author tells you that no, she hated school in general in any case. But now she hated it more than ever. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. Why was the mechanical teacher giving her test after test in geography? Well, obviously, if you don't get passing grade in one test, you're going to be given another test to see if you have learned. Then you're going to be given another test if you do not pass that one. So Margie was not doing very well. And that is why she was getting test after test. Now, television screen that contains all your books is called a telebook in those times, in the future. What is the teacher called? The teacher is called a mechanical teacher. You are very close to this. Artificial intelligence has already been used in certain areas to create robots who come into class and teach. In Bangalore, one such school already exists. In Mumbai, they have recently videoed one robot teacher coming in and teaching. So we are very fast going to the place where mechanical teacher, and this mechanical teacher is not as advanced. The mechanical teacher that we are learning about in this particular text is not as advanced as the ones that are making their debut, okay, in classrooms in our times. So Margie's mother had been really felt bad that Margie was not able to cope with her studies, and then she realized that something might be wrong with the mechanical teacher, and so she sent for the county inspector. What is the job of an inspector? An inspector inspects to find out if everything is going on properly. Do you people know that even your school is visited by an inspector once in a while to find out whether it's after the school gets an affiliation from a board, whether it is West Bengal board, whether it is central board, whether it is ICSE, so on and so forth. But every once in a while, the board will send an inspector to find out if everything in the school is running properly, if everything is as it should be, if the teaching is being done properly. Now, for every county, what is a county? For ease of administration, places are divided, right? So, for example, the whole land is divided into continents, continents are divided into nations, nations are divided into states, states are divided into districts. This district that we have is like a county. It's a small portion of the total area under one inspector. This inspector looks at everything in that particular county. He was a round little man with a red face and a whole box of tools and dials and wires. These are the things that he needs to maintain the devices that are used as mechanical teachers. He smiled at Margie and gave her an apple, then took the teacher apart. You go for your vaccines, you will be given a lozenge. So it's the inspector's way of telling Margie that he is friends with her. He's not come there to scold her. Margie had hoped he wouldn't know how to put it together again, because if he cannot put it together again, then Margie doesn't have to study. But he knew how, all right. And after an hour or so, there it was again, large and black and ugly, with a big screen on which all the lessons were shown and the questions were asked. So you're basically looking at a computer monitor. That wasn't so bad. The part Margie hated the most was the slot where she had to put homework and test papers. Now, this is not very familiar to you. What is this slot business? Where is this slot in our computers? There is no such thing. And where is it? How do you put the papers inside? What kind of papers are you talking about? She always had to write them out in punch code. We have heard of lots of different codes. Punch code is not one of them. They made her learn this code when she was 6 years old, and the mechanical teacher calculated the marks in no time. To understand this, we'll have to go somewhere over here and we'll have to search for punch code. And then we have to go to images. Now you see this? This is a card. It's called a punch card. Whatever instruction you want to give the computer and whatever input data you want to give the computer, you had to use these punch cards. These punch cards would be read by the computer. And if you wanted any feedback from the computer, they would also generate such punch cards. So you had to put a card without any holes in it, and the computer would put punches in. This is the punch code that is being talked about. This is a modern version of the punch card machine. The original machines look nothing like this.
So, program 1, auto feed on, print on, punch, we're all good to go. Feed, there you go. Enter, off we go. There we go. The 29, punch. 2, release. Repeat another one. It worked. Just day before we have formatted it, and let's try another one. Here. 1. We printed first name, and we got here's Mark, and look, it nicely formatted the date. Same thing on the Thomas Watson card. So that's working.
So you see that it's a really cumbersome process. It's a very slow process. Sitting in those days when the author was writing, he couldn't visualize that this particular coding will, progress so much that it'll almost be like writing in your own language, which is what happens, okay, in nowadays programming. It's almost like writing your own language. The inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted Margie's head. He said to her mother, "It's not the little girl's fault, Mrs. Jones. I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick." Which means what? It tells us that you can actually, in the future, the teacher that is going to teach you, you can actually adjust the pace and the knowledge which the teacher is imparting. Okay? You can make it so if you know that in your class, not everybody studies the same way. Some people grasp things faster. Some people have better memory. Some people are more hardworking, so on and so forth. But all of you have the standard amount of intelligence. It would be amazing if a teacher could be made to fit every single child individually, so that what that child needs, the teacher can provide, which is obviously not possible with the way that you people study. So that's one of the plus points of a teacher in the future. I have slowed it up to an average 10-year level. Actually, the overall pattern of her progress is quite satisfactory, and he patted Margie's head again. But in spite of this pat on the head, Margie was disappointed. Why? Because she doesn't like to study, and she was hoping that they would take the teacher away altogether. Once they had actually taken Tommy's teacher away because uh, I think the memory sector or the history sector had blanked out completely. So it's almost like a computer crashing and all the data deleted. Okay. So something like that had happened, and they had to take the teacher away, and they had to, sometimes you have gadgets in the house where people can, you give them a call, they can come over and they can fix it. And sometimes they will come over and they'll say that this cannot be fixed here. We'll have to take it to the workshop. So you'll have to do without the gadget for a number of days. So she said to Tommy, why would anyone write about school? Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes. What kind of superior eyes? The eyes of a 13-year-old looking at a 11-year-old. Like, you are a bacha, what do you know? That kind of superior eyes. Because it's not our kind of school. Stupid. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And the 13-year-old Tommy had just learned the word centuries. He was very proud of big sounding words. Just like you people are proud of big sounding words, bombastic words. So he is like centuries ago. Margie was hurt. Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago. She read the book over his shoulder for a while. So when somebody is already reading the book and you read from sitting beside that person, you read the book. So it's called reading over your shoulder. It's actually a very irritating habit. And then said, anyway, they had a teacher. And according to Margie, if there's a teacher, then it cannot be good. It must be all bad. Sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man. A man, how could a man be a teacher? The Margie has no concept of a human being being a teacher. It's impossible according to her. Human beings are just not smart enough. Apparently, the machine has more knowledge. I wouldn't say intelligence. Well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them questions. This is more or less what Margie's mechanical teacher also does. When Margie says that a man is not smart enough, then Tommy says that he believes that his father knows as much as the mechanical teacher. And look how he does not say that his father knows more than the mechanical teacher, okay? So he does think that the mechanical teacher is somewhat superior as far as knowledge is concerned. And Margie was not going to say that, no, your father doesn't know enough, this and that. So she dropped it. Then she says that, anyways, I wouldn't want a strange man in my house to teach. So it's not that Margie does not have an idea of what a human being teacher is like. Margie also does not have an idea of what a school is like. She thinks school is a room in her own house. And if the mechanical teacher is replaced by a human being, the human being will come to the house and be inside a room. And she doesn't want that. Who wants a stranger roaming around in your house? So Tommy screamed with laughter, you don't know much, Margie. The teachers didn't live in the house. They had a special building and all the kids went there. And if they were of the same age, they were taught the same thing. Now, because Tommy says this, we know that if there is another 13-year-old who is being taught by a separate mechanical teacher, then that 13-year-old might not be taught the same things as Tommy is being taught. If Tommy is a fast learner, then Tommy would have been given more and more homework, been taught more and more lessons, which the other person wouldn't learn. Because the mechanical teacher can be geared according to the mind of each individual. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches, and that each kid has to be taught differently. Just the same, they didn't do it that way then. If you don't like it, you don't have to read the book. I didn't say I didn't like it, Margie said quickly. She wanted to read about those funny schools. Again, here, funny means strange. They weren't even half finished when Margie's mother called. Margie, school. Margie looked up. Not yet, Mama. Now, said Mrs. Jones. And it's probably time for Tommy too. Margie said to Tommy, can I read the book some more with you after school? And Tommy says, maybe, nonchalantly. Nonchalantly means not showing much interest or carelessly. He walked away whistling, the dusty old book tucked beneath his arm. Margie went into the schoolroom, and her schoolroom was right next to her bedroom. Like I said, it's a room in the house. And it was always on at the same time because Margie's mother, so obviously in a school, the discipline is enforced by the school authorities. But in your home, at home, in your house, the discipline will be set by your parents. And Margie's mother knew the importance of this discipline. She said that a student had to sit at the same time to study because that way the mind knows and becomes receptive that this is my time to study, this is my time to play, this is my time to eat. And Margie's mother also maintained that on Saturdays and Sundays it will be holidays. They won't be. And that is just the same as you people. You people also don't have school on Saturdays and Sundays. The screen was lit up and it said, today's arithmetic lesson is on the addition of proper fractions. Please insert yesterday's homework in the proper slot. So they're studying more or less the same thing. What Margie has learned extra when compared to you people is the punch code. So what do we see here? I have already told you that the computer or the mechanical teacher can be made to suit each individual child, and somewhere that is also necessary, somewhere that is a plus, somewhere that is an advantage. However, we now learn about the advantages of the kind of learning that you people do. Okay, and this particular piece becomes very important now that artificial intelligence has become such a thing. Now it becomes really, really important. Can they replace your teachers in school? Will you feel the same kind of inspiration when you sit in front of a robot? Margie did so with a sigh. What did she do with a sigh? She put in her homework in the proper slot. She was thinking, so she was sitting in front of the mechanical teacher, but her mind was miles away. Where was it? Her mind was in the book that Tommy had. Her mind was in the times that the book was talking about. This was the time when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came, laughing, shouting in the schoolyard. Kind of makes you think that Margie is very lonely. That is one thing. So school is not just about the learning or the learning that you get from your text. No, a school is much more than that. You learn a lot of other things in school. You learn how to socialize. You learn what kind of people are there in life, what kind of people you may meet. Some are dishonest, some are honest, some will have your back, some will stab you in the back. So all of these things are extremely important and you have to learn those things too. And it's fun to learn together. There is a joy in being together. Man is a social animal. All the kids from the school or the whole neighborhood came laughing and shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the schoolroom. There's fun in that. Going home together at the end of the day, there's fun in that. They learn the same things so they could help one another. Now look, the same advantage has been turned into a disadvantage. If you learn the same things, all very well and good to say that no, the mechanical teacher will teach you more if you have like a faster speed of learning or teach you less. But that would mean that you are learning alone. If you get stuck, you cannot take help of your friend who's of the same age because your friend may not have learned. And the teachers were people. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen. When we add fractions, half and quarter, Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. So she doesn't love it, but she can visualize. She can imagine how people loved it in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had, the fun that she was missing out on.
If you want a video on a particular topic, let us know in the comment section below. And kindly visit our website raretutorial.com to know more. Thank you for watching the video. For more such educational content, please like, share and subscribe to our channel.